We all feel. We all feel. We all feel.
Lambchop were formed in 1986 under the name of Poster Child, and they are a project of, quotes, a large and fluid collective of musicians surrounding the central figure of Kurt Wagner. So Kurt Wagner is the songwriter, the singer, and the driving force behind this project. In 1992, they were sued on behalf of another band with the name Poster Children, and so they changed their name to Lambchop at that point. In the early days, they were definitely purveyors of lo-fi recordings and self-releases, but since they changed to Lambchop, they have recorded, as far as I can see, 16 studio albums. Hi, my name's Dan. So this is, and I presume not counting self-releases from earlier and under their previous name, this is their second studio album, and it's my first encounter with them. And they've been listed somewhere as alt country. I think maybe that fits. I think it's I'm not really sure what alt country is, so who am I to argue? There are definitely some influences of country in here. Now, I wouldn't say that. I'd say one of the defining characteristics of country often is the chord sequences that they use, are often quite formulaic. The kind of rhythms that they use particular rhythms, but then also the sounds that they use. So here, I don't think that the chord sequences and the rhythms are particularly what I'd think of as stereotypical country, but there is some pedal steel guitar sounds in here, which does give it a sort of country feel. That's the kind of kind of guitar-y sound. The person that I think that this is most similar to the stuff that I've heard before is Bill Callahan, who's also recorded under the name Smog. And I think there's quite a lot of similarities here between Lambchop and Smog. So it feels kind of like lo-fi, and I've been through several albums recently that are definitely fitting in the lo-fi genre. I've done Silver Jews, I've done Waxahachie, and I've just done a request review for a guy called Floyd Sampson, who's very lo-fi. This has the same kind of feel in some ways, but actually is really well recorded. So it's not a lo-fi recording at all. There's quite a lot of instruments in here. There's guitars, there's singing. So listed on Wikipedia, there's who's done guitars, who's done various things, drums, and there's some clarinet and some brass mentioned. So there are other instruments in here as well. So there's definitely some strings, as in, classical strings, like violin, viola, not sure what, and a bass. And the pedal steel guitar is, I'm fairly sure I'm not mentioning those credits. And overall, it's kind of got I say it's got this lo-fi feel, but it's also got a kind of chamber pop feel because of the use of classical instruments, or similarly kind of post-rock feel. Those are areas that I know use classical instruments. So the overall effect is kind of understated and fairly kind of quiet and unassuming. There's a lot of use of tremolo on electric guitars here in a nice way. I like that. Musically, I found it really quite engaging. The singing is similarly quite low-key in style. And the whole thing is kind of like music that wants to sit in the corner at parties and not be noticed particularly. It is the kind of music that you can put on as background music, to be honest. The lyrics, what have I picked up in the lyrics? Generally, they're quite vague and enigmatic. It's reasonable songwriting, I would say. There are a couple of things that I want to pick out here. So one is a track called The Man Who Loved Beer, is based on a roughly 4,000-year-old Egyptian lyrics on a poem called The Man Who Was Tired of Life, apparently. Another one, which is the track called We Never Argue, it seems mostly to be a list of things, a list of phrases that are international something, international velvet, international diplomacy, things like that. And it's just a list of these things. Quite like list songs, to be honest. So generally, I enjoyed it. I found it engaging and mellow. And I would say if you particularly like Bill Callahan, you might really like this. So please let me know what you think about this album. And that's it from me for now.
International velvet, international underground.